so probably going to take something else. Corki was what they first picked.
I mean,
in that game one,
are you not just taking Jinx Thresh over here now? Like, what's the crack? What's the story?
Yeah, I would think Jinx Thresh makes a lot of sense in this situation. The one thing I will say is that when you have a Corki, it's not as much of a concern, right? Because Corki is mobile. There's not as much of a problem in terms of like keeping your backline safe, but it's still going to make this Jinx so safe, so hard to punish. So definitely think that Jinx will come through here with Aphelios and Caitlyn banned. It does kind of stand out as like the premier AD carry left available, and I think you have to take Thresh in this situation for BLG. You do not want to give a chance for OMG to pick it up. If they go in a similar direction,
I mean, they might just say, look, we don't believe that Cole plays it to a very, high degree, or to a very,
maybe they're not as hyped on it as I am, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it seemed pretty hyped, but I think for a very good reason. That last game, it just felt like it was the be-all and end-all for everything the side of BLG were able to make work for them. And no, they're not going to go for it either. So Thresh dropping very low down in the priority right now, and I think it's more of a, I suppose, a setup to see how they can go for it. And we have seen, Cole play Thresh this season. Didn't have the most exceptional game on. He was 0-7 and 15, but not exactly something that you would expect to be as difficult for this. I think it's actually his second most played overall in his career since 2015. So the man knows how to play this champion. It just feels weird that you would let it go slide so far down.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. Ezreal will be locked in, so OMG returning a little bit to what they had in that game one. The interesting thing is going to be what they take here. I feel like they could just match jungler if you want to take like Xin Zhao into the Viego or something like that. Now is the time. I don't think you really want to take Thresh with Ezreal. It's not really, I mean, there's no point taking Thresh here other than a denial. They're actually going to prioritize the Talon early here. So confident with Aki's gameplay in game one and knowing that they're comfortable with the matchup into Viego, they'll lock it in. BLG, it's got to be Thresh, right? Surely. They could take Victor, right? Victor could make sense. You want to have the Victor and the Corki, but I think it would be very weird not to take Thresh here. Personally,
I mean,
it'll be very weird.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll wait for it to be locked in, but I mean, this doesn't give you. Yeah, they lock in the Nautilus, so they're saying, look, we don't want Cole back on that pick. We want him on something different. And now BLG, I feel like they got to ban the Thresh, and you could just ban away the Victor, maybe even the Orianna this side around for OMG.
There are bans for that. If they don't want Cole on the Nautilus, they could have just banned it. I feel like Rakan, Yuumi are like the supports that they could potentially ban away. They could take away the Gragas from Shanji. Oh, sorry, they've already taken that away. Never mind. They will take away the Yuumi that pairs up. For OMG, I think you really look at Victor. They're going to take LeBlanc here. So I'd say probably LeBlanc Victor makes a lot of sense. We'll see if they want to go for another support with like the Rakan in this situation, or they want to target Shanji's pool, potentially get rid of things like the Rumble, which you saw throwing a ban earlier. The GP maybe even could be something you're a bit concerned about. But honestly, I feel like you probably want Shanji on something that offers a bit of assistance in team fights. I think Rakan makes a lot of sense here for OMG, though, because they do kind of need the engage with that comp and sort of works well with the Ezreal.
Yeah, it is a very solid bot lane. Of course, we've seen Cole play it a couple of times. So the Camille going to be banned away this time around by BLG. They're saying, look, we don't want this. And again, this could be a flex up in the top side. Shanji could take the Corki. As we wait to see now what BLG want to do. Do they want to pick out their mid laner here and maybe wait for that last pick on top side? Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
I think it's just Victory here.
Or Vex,
looks like they want to go in different directions. So I like Vex because it poses threat onto Ezreal Corki. Even though they're safe carries, you can gap close. And it also provides resets for the Jinx. So going in a different direction from what we've seen before. Could be the Braum coming out here. You have a lot of ultra attackers. You get a lot of value. It would make WeiWei and FoFo's job incredibly difficult. And on top of that, you can block the Vex, right? If she charges onto you, you just move away from your team and you pop your wall, and you should be able to soak a good portion of the damage. So they lock that one in. Now it comes down to what Shanji wants in the top lane. I think some engage is important here, right? They do have poke elements, so maybe you could go like a Jace if you wanted to poke. Alternatively, something that can sort of provide an ability for your team to get into a fight, or even just a flank could be important here.
Well, a flank looks like the option they're going to work towards. As this set is locked and loaded. The final pick coming out here now for BLG will be the top laner of Breed. Can play plenty of carry champions, so Akali not a million miles away from what I actually would be expecting to see. It wouldn't be 100% the top of my list, but definitely something that can be picked up here. And ooh, this could be the Chemtech build.
Game 6, the Chemtank Akali. I think it probably would be, right? And the thing is, it's a good matchup into the set because, you know, he's all about his auto attack damage. You can constantly harass him, just sit in your shroud. and it's very hard for him to do anything to you unless he gets up in your face and manages to press his R. And the thing is, you pose such a massive threat to the backline, right? You're Akali, but you're also bulky, so you gotta cover it at the start of the day. It's been a long time, so I'm sure we'll get to talk more about it in the game, assuming he does go that build, which I think is likely. But I think BLG, you know, I said potentially the Thresh could have been something that can provide safety for your backline. Instead, they opted again. He wasn't able to do this too quickly in the first game, but he was able to quickly build up a momentum in the mid game, right, and get a massive farm lead, be really far ahead. So we see how WeiWei is able to handle that.
We haven't really talked about Vex as such. Vex just seems to be one of those carries that seems to fall not out of favor, but more so out of people's minds, and then really pops up. And we've seen Xiaohu play it quite a few times now this split. Is something that can just absolutely pop the hell off as we have a quick look at the ruins. And I'm very excited because those are the exact ruins that you were talking about earlier today for the Akali.
Yeah, in fairness, it's pretty good for Akali in general, but I feel like there's no reason not to go the Chem Tank. It's such a broken build, right? But yeah, talking about the Vex, Vex poses a lot of threat to those squishy carries. The burst can be insane, and you can just go from target to target to target. But BLG looking for potential invade here. Remember, with Vex, they can go for AoE CC, but it looks like they're just going to get some vision, not going to go for more.
Well, they know where the vision is, so Aki will be found out on this bot side, so they'll know exactly where he's starting. As you can see there, Shanji putting a ward there onto the Krugs. So equal vision and information get garnered by both sets of teams, as both junglers will be looking to set up. And actually, I love this from Breed, looking to try and set up some alcove gaming. Recognized that he had an opportunity here, and now he's going to see if he can maybe try and catch out this Akali. It's the Akali that's springing the trap for him. As I say that, though, I think Breed's now realized, yep, I don't want to be here. I need to get myself out, and it's actually going to be this really big movement now from Shanji to try and just zone out this Akali.
Yeah, I think he's just concerned about the level 1 of Sett. Getting up in your face and just beating you down. Akali, you kind of need a couple of levels before she's like really comfortable in the matchup, because your Q energy cost goes down so much when you put points in it. But obviously you want your E and your W for safety, so Breathe just playing the lane slow, not really want to interact too much. It's not too much of a concern if you fall behind in farm, because your items like the Chem Tank is cheap and is very powerful.
Very, very powerful. Aki just trying to dodge out some of this vision. Should be able to do it pretty successfully. So both sides actually maybe looking to try and horizontally jungle right now as Aki then postures towards this mid lane. Level 2 hit first in this bot side as the Chompers go down. And Cole takes an ignite and should be totally fine to continue on. So now FoFo, do you get caught out by an early little bit of a jungle intervention now? He's just waiting for the here. Yep, there it is. And now they're going to jump straight on top of him. He will get flashed on and flashes away. That's going to be summoner burnt now by FoFo. As we can see now, there's going to be WeiWei. Aki, you need to be careful, my dude. Will end up recognizing that the Viego is there and backs himself over the wall.
Critical thing is WeiWei managed to finish off the blue buff before leaving, right? It could have been pretty bad if you had to interrupt that and back away to save FoFo, but it's a trade of summoners. I think FoFo is kind of okay with that one. I think BLG are in general. But I like to see the early proactivity from Aki.
Good early proactivity as WeiWei will get a 3-buff start. Not going to be the biggest difference in the world. The Talon will pay him back in kind, I imagine. And as we learned earlier today, if you missed out, even when Karsa was down 2 levels, didn't really make that big of a difference if you're not able to find the engages. So we'll see what they're able to make out of it, as both OMG and BLG just sitting pretty at the moment, not really looking to go too overextended or too over-aggressive, as Breathe will get a nice little trade back onto Shanji. And I think the big thing with Sett that people don't really recognize is that in terms of his health regen, he has got such a great way of just sustaining, even without pots or anything like that. So you do have to be very, very careful how you take these fights, because he is going to always outtrade you in terms of the health bar.
Yeah, a big thing is, though, they did buff the health regen for Akali recently. That's one of the changes that did sort of help her out. She's now, like, they have... Oh, I'm going to hold this thought. No, I don't think there's a fight going on there.
I mean, no Shroud now.
Yeah, they could just dive this.
Yeah, they could dive this if they really wanted to. There is no teleport either for FoFo. He went with Ignite in that mid lane, and they're going to try and just take him out straight away. Perfectly timed, though. Is the Ignite good enough? Yes, it is. Breathe gets himself a re-kill, and that's going to be first blood to OMG, but trade it back. And now, look at Viego. There's no vision here for Shanji, and they're going to be able to try and push into him. He's got level 5, so he's still pretty tanky, but this is going to be enough for the Viego. You got to feel like right now he's going to be able to take down this kill. Flash is available. There it is. He's going to be able to use the Haymaker, but not enough to keep him alive. WeiWei picks up another kill, and that's 2 kills to 1 in favor of BLG.
Beautifully played there by WeiWei as well to wait until the grit had sort of decayed, because he knew like a big haymaker could turn things around. The big shield on top of a ton of damage could potentially threaten him. He waits it out, flashes in, secures the kill, and ends up being favorable for BLG. And largely because Breathe was so good with his target selection on his tower. It's so easy to assume who's going to take the aggro. The expectation is Shanji would grab it, but it ended up being Aki, and Breathe made sure he focused his damage and his ignite down onto him to get the turnaround. And now he'll be up in gold against Shanji. Yeah, he's slightly behind actually just from that farm, but he's in a very comfortable spot.
Very, very nicely done there. And BLG, this is the type of game we wanted to see them making. Cold and the rest of OMG have been doing well to roam around the map to get themselves in good advantageous situations, but when you're getting things like the dragon stacking in favor of BLG, when you're able to put yourself into a nice position in top side, I will say though, with these items being picked up, I don't think it's going to be the chem tank build, sadly, for Breathe.
Oh my, I'm so disappointed.
I'm actually so sad. We hyped it up so much. I'm a little sad.
I was ready for it, but you know, it happens. Clearly wants a bit more snappier burst to threaten these backline carries. It makes sense.
Your brain's just too big, man. They can't keep up, you know?
Yep. I decide the meta.
Yeah. You do just, I know color casters decide the meta. That's all I know. I just have to leave it to them to kind of set it up for it. As we see Breathe now walking over, trying to take this pink ward, and should be able to take it pretty damn successfully. Did get up the push in top side and won't be getting caught out anytime soon. But again, good moves here from the side of BLG. They've got the 2 kills in their back pocket. They've got themselves the first dragon of the game as well. This Viego has gotten a pretty decent start. Already got that sheen, so early skirmishing power very much in favor of BLG for the moment.
And Breathe is now comfortable in this matchup, right? He can just keep harassing Shanji. As long as he doesn't get caught by the face breaker, then he's pretty comfortable to just keep hitting him. And yes, the sustain is good on Shanji, but still can be quite painful.
Can indeed. Calling now, see where they go with this build. I'm very excited to see how this game goes out. And now let's have a look towards the future. Where do you want to see OMG prioritize? I got to stop myself a little bit. We are going to have a little bit of an engage coming out, but the Unbreakable makes that disappear as quickly as it happened. But where do you want to see both these teams prioritize? Where do you want to see them do to try and get them, you know, the win, the dub, as we say all the time in this series? Because, oh, I'm going to talk again, because we're going to see the Ignite coming down. Cold in a lot of trouble. Has got himself the flash. He's not going to be able to survive, though. Exhaust comes in. There's still a flash available for this Ezreal. They will get the Super Mega Death Rocket out of Doggo, and he will be able to just keep himself alive barely, as the bot lane is still very much favored to BLG.
Yeah, I mean, BLG keep fishing for these engages, right? And the Ezreal just doesn't have to sustain damage really to do that much. And on top of that, because Ezreal has TP, the down combat summoners by default, it's exhaust for each side, but an ignite advantage for BLG. They managed to pick off Cold. Really solid advantage. And I think for me, I want to see priority put on this Herald, right? We've seen the Herald be really instrumental in snowballing these teams' advantage. Both of them have stronger scaling options, so getting that early lead can make a big difference. But yeah, they just keep looking for Cold, right? So initially get that damage down onto him, but then it's quite a long cooldown for the Unbreakable in the early game, right? And he's just a little bit disrespectful here walking up. This time gets jumped on. They manage to sort of combo. The traps, unfortunately, don't connect, but no Unbreakable makes Braum, you know, a pretty vulnerable target. And I gotta hold that.
We got a hold of the package. Did come down. WeiWei does get over the wall. Will not get concussive blows down. So package was used there to try and find that pick, but WeiWei able to survive it. And this is starting to see the gears turning in favor of BLG. They're the ones dictating the pace, and it does seem a little bit, I won't say panicked, but definitely a little bit scarpered, as we can see there. There's the showstopper to start it all off. Shanji will absorb the ignite and the perfect execution. There's a 2 big summoners, or 2 big ultimate and summoners are not available now for Breathe, as he waits to see now where they want to go. They know that the Rift Herald was just taken. Yet they're just trying to push in this wave, maybe go for something else. Now the Shroud is down, another big cooldown no longer available, but can they go for this dive? It looks like they're going to have to.
That could be a little bit risky. Shanji is very low, but Breathe,
I mean,
no
they just
Shroud.
they gotta get him the Shroud. They're gonna get the damage down. No! Breathe! Oh my god, he almost gets out. I thought he was just about to do it. So they will pick up the kill. Good response here from OMG, but it is a little bit slower than they probably would have liked.
The bleed is just enough there. A little bit on the edge, as you said, but they're able to get the kill, able to trade for something. And, you know, again, Aki also has that Herald in pocket, so I think they're pretty comfortable. I think this is the sort of agency you want. Yes, bot lane has had a bit of trouble, but you can now set the pace. You can start to take a tower. You can start to exchange that into more. There is a dragon up in a minute. Bear in mind, Creme won't have his package synced for this one, right? He took his package for the first Herald, so they're going to be a little bit weaker in terms of fighting power. They might end up having to give this one up to BLG. We'll see how it pans out.
We'll have to wait and see. The Valkyrie away by Creme. He's just taking a pretty bad trade. Yeah, needs to go away from the Shadow Surge and flash in. Oh, FoFo. He's not going to go down just yet. Crisp was in the right position at the right time. The Super Mega Death Rocket. Oh, Cold didn't quite get into position. And now Doggo's got himself a kill. He's got himself a blue buff, and he's sitting pretty in this bot lane.
I mean, BLG can be more than happy with that, right? Force Cold mid, Cold ults, but they still end up getting the kill trade, and it goes on a Doggo of all people. And this is a great game for the Jinx to be in, honestly. They're going to apply some pressure, and they know, right? They know Cold is mid, so they have time here to get more plates.
They have got so much time. This Doggo Jinx is getting so big, nearly 1,000 gold ahead of the Ezreal counterpart. Crisp will take a little bit of damage now as a trade-off for those turret plates, but now Aki going back towards this top side. They want to try and keep this brief Akali down. I know, but
I've literally got deja vu. We've seen this exact setup. Like, this is the third time. I mean, I think it makes sense to apply the pressure. Like I said, they don't have the Corki package for this dragon. It would be difficult to fight it, right? So they end up opting out. They are going to throw it on the Herald mid. Just going to take the 2 plates mid, which is kind of standard when you feel like you can't get more. But it kind of makes you think it's not really that worth it, considering how rough bot is.
Yeah, it really, really isn't. And that's just going to quell the goal lead just a tad. It only brings it up to about maybe 1,000 or so once all these minions are taken. But you got to be a little bit more careful now if you're OMG. These walls are starting to close in on you quite quickly. You need to make sure you're making some decent plays. And with the Yomu's Ghostblade finally finished up for Aki, they should be able to make some kind of move. But if he's bot side while that turret's being taken, there's not really a lot he can do.
Yeah, and this is going to be even more gold put in the Doggo. Things are starting to get out of control, right? OMG had that great game 1. Game 2, Doggo was the big difference maker. He was the MVP, and now he is getting more and more gold in pocket. 1,600 gold ahead between him and Abel. Most gold in the game by a large margin. Even Aki, who got those mid plates, is over 1,000 gold behind. And we're going to replay of the play. The flash from Creme is good to dodge away from the ult, but the lockdown isn't quick enough from the Braum, right? He can't stack his passive enough alone. But the ult snipe. And the thing is, it's so sad because Cold was in position to have blocked it. You can't know, right? You can't know, but it's just like if he'd ended up staying still, he would have ended up blocking it.
Yeah, it's something you got to remind yourself. The Jinx rocket can be devastating, and now 1,500 gold lead for BLG. They'll push in towards this mid lane. Still a couple of plates available for at least a little bit under a minute. 3.5 minutes till the next dragon. It is a Cloud Soul coming out onto the Rift, and now we start to see the first islands being picked up for everybody. Riftmaker being picked up here by Breathe in the top side. You do have the Divine Sunderer here for Abel, as alongside what I imagine is going to be the Immortal Shield Bow for, and the Gore Drinker, which just got finished up there for Shanji and Creme. So where do you want to try and push this one right now? I feel like you're just happy enough to keep Breathe in this bot lane, keep him in a side lane, keep the Sett away from the Jinx, because if you're able to grab this Jinx without cleanse or any kind of way of stopping the CC, she will die if she's caught out.
I think the thing is, though, it's quite hard sometimes for Sett to get in range of Jinx. If you've got Flash, sure, but gone are the days where you had the dash from Strybreaker to help facilitate your engages. You kind of relied on the flank. So, and at this point, Breeze's pretty comfortable in the side lane, right? He's got the Riftmaker for sustain. It's quite hard for Shanji to really pressure him unless he commits his ult, and then
Cold. Cold's just going to walk in, going to drop down the Glacial Fissure, will get knocked up and taken down. There's the first reset, and that's just a bit of a misplay there from Cold, not really respecting the fact that he just didn't have vision of anybody and just walks into the enemy or the river and not expecting people to be there. Just feels a little bit off.
And BLG just finding so much momentum, right? They had pressure bot lane. The Jinx was able to push in, get control, get plates. They're now spreading this advantage. Top has been fine, mid has been fine. WeiWei is just finding more and more opportunities. The only real play we've seen from OMG was those plays around top, which were kind of a bit hit and miss. And now it just feels like pressure across the map is in favor of BLG. We have 20 seconds on that Herald, so BLG will move towards that. It is a minute 50 on the Dragon. Now, it looks like OMG are looking to contest this Herald with the package. That must be the game plan here, surely.
I mean, that's what you hope, I think, is the best way to put it. But look at the good vision control you have here from BLG. They've got 2 wards just scattered behind people so they can get freed into the back line. They can put this Akali into a very advantageous position if they so choose to go for it. Not great wave clear available here for the side of OMG. They are reliant on those Mystic shots to land, as we got both these teams there posturing aggressively. They will pick out one of the wards. Maybe they'll be able to find another one. No, they will not be able to get that second one. So there's still a ward in that blue buff. And while that's happening, Breathe is just pushing down. They are going to take away that pink ward in the top side. Rift Herald has been started. You will have the Sett hovering off to the side. There's a ward on the flank. There it is, exactly the one we talked about. And then the TP can come in. They're going to try and maybe go for this aggressive play. Gale Force out, package in. They're going to try and maybe go for this, but Creme's been instantly exhausted. He's stuck in no man's land, and he is dead. FoFo will claim that prize. And now look at Doggo, fearless, aggressive. Shadow Surge will go absolutely nowhere, but that Super Mega Death Rocket is just perfect. And look at BLG hunting down these kills, getting 2 more off the back of that initial one, and make it a 3rd, make it even a 4th. They're gonna have 4 kills to none. There's nothing Abel can do, and that's triple kill there for WeiWei. Massive turn of events here for BLG.
BLG absolutely crushed it. The package was in OMG's hands and it didn't connect. It didn't hit anyone. Went straight through the middle, and it just meant Creme was completely out of position. And that's when BLG found the momentum. This is how this composition works, right? You get a kill, you get a reset, you start to move forward. Everyone is ready to die with you, and Doggo is at the back line just firing more and more rockets. We'll see the replay and just watch Creme with the package. It just ends up sliding through. It doesn't tag anyone, and now look at him. He's exhausted in the middle of 3. So Creme is now gone. You get the reset for the Jinx instantly. It's going bad, and then OMG are trying to hold strong, but there's no way you can win this. And bear in mind, think how badly this fight went, and that was with FoFo missing his resetted ult, right? Think how disastrous it would have been if that had connected. Yeah, this is just BLG crushing, and now OMG are able to sneak this dragon away.
Yeah, they will get it, and that's objective gold as well. They may look to try and turn for this fight. The Viego is bit by himself. The Akali nowhere near, and that's why they felt comfortable going for it. The hook lands, but not really under the right person. 2-man fears. They jump onto Cold. They will get the rate. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb. They go in with the Vex, who gets jumped straight back out. Has to go straight into Zonya's, but look at Breathe. He's just on this backside. Look at Doggo, just completely untouched. And BLG will punish OMG for taking that dragon. For you can see Creme just trying his best to keep him going, but the lethal tempo gives the Jinx just enough damage, just enough range, and that is a clean ace. Excuse me, FoFo died, not quite clean, but that is just, what is it, 5,000 gold lead out of nowhere.
And it's amazing, right? BLG's awareness of the situation. They know Breathe isn't there. They don't care about the dragon. They're willing to sacrifice it. These are the sort of things that you expect from a top team. They give it up to take the fight, and everyone is firing on all cylinders. Everyone is synced up. Really excellent team fighting, and it feels like OMG's backline, they just cannot protect them, right? The dive threat is there. We'll get the replay, right? So this whole time, they're like, they actually just do not care one bit about the dragon, right? They're purely trying to corral them in like cattle and wait for the Akali to be here. Eventually, like, well, if we don't go now, they're gonna leave. So Chris just starts the fight off, and they're slowly not committing too hard, and now that people are there, they're like, okay, it's go time. You see the turnaround attempt, stopwatch blocks that, and then it's just Chris constantly putting this threat down. Where did the Ezreal go? He just disappeared.
What a hook. What a performance so far this series by Chris. The man was just such on a mission right now. We will see him almost getting a hook there onto Creme. And while that's all been happening, Breathe takes top tower. They're now 6,000 gold ahead in this game. BLG will be looking super strong. They've 3 turrets to none. Abel needs to be a bit careful. The Shadow Surge comes in. They will get the fear down. And yep, there's nowhere for you to go. Doggo will Gale Force in. Get that kill. That's 309 for the Jinx. Doggo really coming up trumps in this series, and honestly looks fantastic on this Jinx.
And honestly, we see a lot of Kraken Slayer Jinx. I really appreciate the Gale Force Jinx in this game, because that's what it's about. It's about getting the resets, bursting targets, moving forwards with the team. It's a 6,000 gold lead in favor of BLG, and it just feels like OMG, you know, they lost the Nexus, their first one of the split, and now it feels like they're falling apart.
Really doesn't look like the Creme that we saw in game 1 on this Corki that he has played before. Honestly, this TP might be a little bit too little too late. He will have the support of Cold, so, and of course of Creme, so Shanji will not be going down. Actually, it wasn't even Shanji. It was Abel. And Rift Herald had to be dropped in base because they just didn't have time. They had to drop it somewhere.
Yeah, never a good use when you're just throwing it in base. They're going to try and walk it up so they can get it onto the mid lane tower. Burning TPs to try and facilitate this. We'll see if BLG opt to fight them on it. It is a package though, but this is out of sync with the dragon. Creme! Creme, I told you!
He doesn't want to listen. He wants it for now. And it's again, we talk about it all the time. This desynchronization. Breed, though, looking for a flank. They will get Shelly to get a knock up, but now Breed's going to look to try and see if they can do something on the backside. Immediately has to go into Shroud. That's not great for BLG, but it doesn't matter because the perfect execution is just that. Never mind. Shanji is massive, and they're fighting with the package. I'm not quite sure why. Shadow Surge, though, from FoFo turns it right back around. Creme is a little bit in no man's land. They're trying to see if they can find out where he is. They will now know exactly where he is, and Doggo picks up that kill. It looks like for a moment OMG might have been able to find a fight because BLG fought around the package, but in the end of the day, BLG are just too far ahead.
BLG opted into the package and what looked like possibly worst case scenario for their fight, and they still win, right? I think that kind of illustrates how far the goal lead is in favor of BLG, and now it's a minute till dragon, no package for OMG. The only thing that gave them any hope there, really easy for BLG just to swan over and pick that one up. We'll get a replay, so the fight ends up a little bit rough. You can see Bree's attempt is to force Creme's package. He goes in and the goal is like make him burn it so we don't have to fight it, right? He's up in his face, he's threatening. Creme's like, whatever, I don't care. We get the big haymaker with package combo. But the problem is Doggo untouched, right? This guy just does not get threatened. They do end up jumping on him in the back end, but he's still a massive threat. It stops the Ezreal and the Talon from being able to join, and it means the rest of the team can just chase down Corki.
Big moment there. See when we come back to live, a tier 2 in the mid lane has been taken. So again, still 6,000 gold or just a little bit underneath it in favor for BLG. They have gotten 3 items, I believe, onto their Jinx. This Doggo Jinx is just ridiculously big. Got the Lord Dominic's Regard alongside the Rudan's Hurricane.
You are still...
Yeah, it's a big dog. Big dog. It's a St. Bernard or a Newfoundland. This ain't no Chihuahua coming at you. Gotta be careful because this dog doesn't just bark, it bites. Now they're going to take themselves onto Soul Point. BLG happy to take that one out. So the True Shot Barrage actually on the minimap was used by Abel just to scout out around this Baron because they just have no vision. Crisp walking over aggressively saying, look, I'm going to force out something from you. He's going to force out Sett to get a little bit of damage onto him. He's going to use the ultimate onto him as well because they can just say, we know you can't fight this. He's going to go in. It's a great showstopper. But Crisp again and again forcing summoners, forcing OMG back and forcing out flashes.
He just doesn't miss, honestly, and he's consistently being this threat. I was saying how the big thing for BLG is getting on these backliners, and it feels like Crisp is unleashed on this Nautilus, constantly finding these hooks, dredge lines, causing massive issues for them. And it's been honestly great to see this OMG, right, coming into the series undefeated, not a single game dropped. And they start the series out with a win, and they're just struggling. Even game 2 felt closer than this. This one just feels like BLG are firmly in control. And now, after the resets, they can really start to put pressure down towards that Baron.
Yeah, and this is the big thing as well. We expected this level of play from BLG. Look at these names on this roster. WeiWei, Breed, Doggo, Crisp, FoFo. These are arguably top 5 in their role, if not top 3 in every single role. This is a monstrous lineup that should be taking a relatively new lineup of OMG and taking it apart, bringing it down. And right now, they're just ticking their boxes, dotting their I's, crossing their T's, making sure they get the win here. There is no package available. There is a Baron on the cards. They are still looking for it. They are going to go on a bit of poke onto Cold, who flashes away. There's going to be the Shadow Surge down and the Valkyrie away, but FoFo with a little bit of trouble. He's forced to flash away. This is actually a really good fight right now for the side of OMG. If they can make the damage stick, they're going to catch out FoFo, and they're already starting to put down more damage. This is all unable, but the Akali is just too slippery. The Akali is just too much for you to handle, and what could have been is not going to be. BLG just too far ahead.
It was a messy fight, and honestly felt like OMG maybe had it, but Breed is critical on this Akali, able to decimate the backline with his R2. There's a lot of issues, but Aki is still in vicinity, right? He can go for this. He can go for the steal. He can hop over, flash out. This could be game saving.
He's going to pop the little thing, but excuse me, the Scryer's Bloom, the little thing, as we now see Abel trying to see if he can get vision. He just wants to see the health. He knows it's not that low. They are going to use the ultimate from the Nautilus to keep him all the way away. Now, Aki, how good is your finger? He's going to try and go for it. They're going to jump in. They're going to try and steal it. Will he be able to get it? No. Ooh, almost get it. Actually, big mistake could have been there. As I say, there's going to be a TP coming in here from Shanji, and he's dead almost immediately. Another TP, but this time it's a package, and now they can maybe go for the fight. The Akali is dead, and the Shadow Surges come in. They do get 2 kills. It's Creme trying to do his best. He gets 2 of those. It's a quadra kill from... Where did that even come from for the side of BLG? WeiWei now looking for his rightful penta, but he will not get it. FoFo will deny him, and they'll back themselves up. This game is all said and done. It's still Doggo 5-0 and 18, 10-0-10 for WeiWei on the Viego.
WeiWei with the resets in the fight. OMG just funneled in one at a time. We're going. Try and get the Baron, try and do anything, try and win the fight, and WeiWei is there to clean up. This comp thrives on resets, right? 3 champions who, as soon as they take down one, they feel real comfortable in the fight, and WeiWei got to absolutely flourish there. This Viego is monstrously strong. We get the resets. So this initial fight looks messy, right? They're kind of corralled into this choke point. The Braum gets tons of value, but it's really Breathe who actually is the big factor in this fight that puts it in favor. Dashes in, stopwatches, so we can R2, second ult across, decimates, right? And it just does enough damage so they can pull out ahead. And honestly, maybe OMG could have won that if Breathe hadn't played it so well. But the follow-up fight, it's just them trying to look for the steal. But the problem is they get baited in, right? Because they're committing. They're like, okay, well, they're low. Let's try and take the fight. Let's try and turn it around. And it's just one by one by one by one. Aki, great focus, by the way. Chris, once again, stellar with the dredge lines. But it just ends up being a situation where now Shanji comes in, right? And then he ends up getting bursted down, absolutely deleted. And then it's like, oh, well, now Creme's here, you know? And it's just one after one after one.
Yeah, I feel like OMG went for a last chance saloon and missed their shot by an awful long margin. And that's just so much damage, so many resets, 10-0 and 10. WeiWei has been having a fantastic game so far on this Viego, and now the siege can begin. You've got Creme dealing with the Akali in that mid lane. It is probably the only person who can. And you just got to try and hope for a miracle. You got to try and look to try and see if you can get something going for you, because as of right now, this is just BLG's game to lose.
Yeah, they are so far ahead. Creme doesn't have the package currently available. They could just grab the Dragon Soul, but they're looking to use the Baron to maximum effectiveness. Only 24 seconds left on it. Gets the poke down. Doesn't connect, but may not have been the best target. I think now, with 19 seconds left, you could wait, but I don't think the next wave will even be there in time. I think it may just be the play to go for the Dragon once that minion's cleared. It will be sold for them. And again, no package from Creme because he hasn't got it synced up. So they should be able to easily pick this one. Yeah, they'll push one more wave in, but the Baron dies, so they should be clearable. There's plenty of wave clear.
As I say that, Chris, what? What are you doing? Why would you do that? That's a lot of your disengage and engage, to be perfectly honest, down. So there's a little bit of a mistake. It's still very much favored in BLG, but that was question mark pings if I've ever seen it.
I don't know why they saved the extra wave, right? They got, like, they didn't even get it to the tower before the Baron buff passed off. And now you'd look for the soul. This is a 4v5 scenario. This is kind of the best case for OMG. That being said, no package because Creme didn't sync it, but I digress.
You digress, and we're going to see now who gets this dragon. It's going to be a 50-50 smite. They're going to go for it. They're going to go in. It is secured. That is going to be taken out now by the side of BLG, but can OMG find fight? They flash away with the Haymaker to see if they can keep Shanji alive. They cannot. Reset City now available for WeiWei. He does not have flash, but he does not need it. He's got himself the face breaker, the Haymaker, the cut down, and that's going to be another reset for him. It's 29-9. It is an absolute slaughter for the side of BLG. They're doing so much, so well, and they're going to be able to continue their push and continue their unbeaten series wins and get themselves up to a 2-0 on the league.
Yeah, TP coming in to keep the minion alive, but that's the thing is they don't have the Baron buff. There's a lot of wave clear, but OMG needs to survive until the 2 members come up. I think BLG won't be able to end now. They're gonna have to back away. Over a 10,000 gold lead. Now Cloud Soul, all that extra movement speed, but they can proc with their ultimate. This is looking very dire for OMG, but it's not over yet.
Not over just yet, but again, 10-0, 12, 4-2, and 10, 6-0, and 19.
That's a bit rough.
That is a lot of kill participation from the Jinx right there. So Gotta give props where props are due. They're just escalating this game beyond all belief, beyond all doubt that they are going to be the ones to take it out and take the win. 12,000 gold leaders. Have a look at the replay, because again, you're 45. You have to go for this as OMG. You cannot let this one just go, because it's probably your best chance.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, in this subsequent fight, like, they're not even trying to fight, they're just trying to get out, right, and do turnaround damage, but BLG were already good at chasing them down. The extra movement speed granted from the Cloud Soul just makes it even worse, and anyone who is caught, the rest of the team just have to kind of be like, yep, that's on you. See you later.
Yep, and you're still waiting for third items. You do have the rapid fire cannon, and of course the Sorela's Grudge here for the Ezreal. We all see Breathe just
look
heavily
at
sitting in the bot side. Yeah, and look what WeiWei just picked up. He just picked up an Atlas Chains. So he's already recognizing that if he is just tanky and gets those resets, it doesn't matter what he does in this fight. It doesn't matter who targets him, because he's going to be able to set up. It's a full item Jinx, like you mentioned as well.
Yeah, 20 seconds for the Baron. They can play for that, but Breathe is hunting potential flank. I think the play is wait here, have BLG move towards the Baron. If OMG try and contest, Breathe just walks in on the flank, and it's clean sailing. There's no reason for OMG to check their red side jungle. Maybe they could throw a ward down there just to make sure. He's actually going to go scan it. Yep. Good play from him to go and clear it out.
Good awareness. Very good awareness. They know this is the last fight. They know that they need to try and find this Jinx. They need to kill off Doggo, but with a flash, exhaust, a GA, it just doesn't look likely. And now TP from Creme will probably have to be used to try and contest around this Baron. I will say BLG are taking...
They can just wait the package out, right? He's grabbed the package. Yeah. They could just wait. They don't have to do anything in this situation.
They don't have to do anything. Even the Zap is just burning the health bars right now of Shanji as he goes in. They are going to look to try and maybe burn him down quickly as they now go in, try and look for a two-shot barrage. Shanji not quite going down just yet, but there's a good package to try and separate this one out. But look at Doggo. The resets are coming in for absolutely everybody, and that's going to be WeiWei. Look at him chasing everybody down. Shadow Surge just a hair too short. It does not matter. 2 kills, maybe even 3. They're going to get the GA out, or sorry, the Zhonya's out of the Akali, but that's the end of it. A clean ace for the side of BLG. They will end this series. They will continue themselves up the ladder of the standings, and they will take this series 2-1.
Package wasn't even enough to swing that one in their favor. BLG with a demanding lead. This game didn't feel too close. BLG were in control, and it feels like they ramped up over the course of the series. We've had very little time to see this team so far this season, but they come in with a convincing 2-1 win over OMG and end their undefeated streak.
Yeah, I think a big win there for BLG. OMG, I don't think can be too unhappy with their performance in Game 1 and Game 2, but Game 3, BLG just smacked them down. They said, you are not allowed to play. You're not allowed to do what you want to do. And honestly, OMG didn't have a way back in. They just, without the hard engage of something like a Thresh or a Nautilus, going with that Braum instead, it just stopped any real way of getting this game back under any kind of control.
I think the thing is as well is that they had to keep their backline safe, and they just couldn't, right? Because they just felt